Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Oh man, I just got out of the pool. Incredible. The swim lesson, oh my gosh, so amazing being in the water, being in the pool. And it's funny. I resisted swimming for so long. I have to excuse my backup camera as I'm backing up. And front cameras. How do all y'all drive without these, by the way? I tell you, I think it's saved me several times because I do not have good depth perception. All right, so here we go. So let's talk about swimming. So yeah, I've resisted swimming for a long, long time. I don't think I never grew up taking swim lessons. It just, I don't know, I grew up in the 70s. People didn't really do a lot of lessons of anything. You just kind of learned how to do something. Maybe you took lessons. I mean, I can remember taking figure skating and dance class for a year. Figure skating for about 5 years. I took piano lessons, but not like what it is now. And it seems like most kids in swimming lessons, I think you just like maybe your parents taught you or something. My parents never swam. It's fascinating. Is my mom told me a story a while back saying, "Oh, Karen, I used to love to swim. I was a great swimmer." Because when I grew up as kids, she always was like, "Don't put your head in the water." It was kind of like 70s, the beginning of you would go to these old quarries and ponds, and it started kind of becoming aware that there was a lot of pollution in those areas. Kids would go and suddenly everybody's raging sick for the next couple days and throwing up and diarrhea, and so it became a big thing of don't put your head in the water. And that was a lot of my mom's fear, because what she told me is she had experience when she was a teenager. She said when she was a teenager, she's literally swimming across the lake. My mom, the non-athlete, okay, at least, I never knew the side of her. She's like, "Oh, I love to swim." And she's like, "Yeah, I almost drowned." And I can't remember exactly, she told me the story. I don't remember all the details of it, but she's like, "I almost drowned." So basically it was decided from that point on, I don't swim. And that kept her back, and she's never really swam since. I guess she swam, but again, my mom's not an active. That was probably the most active time in her life, and then I've never known her to really work out consistently at all. When she had lost weight and then gained and then lost and then gained and then lost, it was always just through diet alone that she did that stuff. A lot of yo-yo dieting for her, and up and down. And yeah, it was never really a thing for me to take swim lessons. And so, I've been feeling this for a little bit of time. And so now we live across the street from the ocean, have for the last year. Lived in Victoria here in Vancouver Island for almost 2 years. I want to be able to stand up paddleboard, which my husband got me one for my birthday, which I'm so excited about. And it's just, I realized that, I'm not swimming and my kids are taking swimming lessons. I'm like, listen, mommy can't swim well and my kids are taking swim lessons. I want to go swimming with my kids. This is not cool. So I started taking swim lessons, and it was scary for me. I could do this kind of I call it hack swimming, this kind of quasi breaststroke thing. And the one, I actually did take a swim lesson when I was, 5, 6, 7 or something like that. And I sound like I'm so old. In my day, swim lessons, at least initially they were the ones with those badges, with that little guy with the black hair. Are you in your late 40s to kind of remember that? I'm a year from 50 now, so that was little swim guy badges. But so I got one. And it was taught for you how to tread water, and how to do it was called Dead Man's Float. Had basically how to stay buoyant, right? How to keep yourself afloat, which is, good skills, I guess, to have. Something happens in the water, you gotta be able to keep yourself afloat if you don't know how to swim. So I guess they thought it was the beginning piece of it. But I never learned how to properly swim. My high school even had a pool, and I remember it's hey, you guys do laps, and I was like, okay. And I would try to do something that I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. You're just kind of trying to go along with everyone else is doing, but you really don't know what the hell that you're doing. It was like that. And so yeah, I felt this. I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to swim. The boys are taking lessons. I'm gonna do it. And it scared me. Because I never really felt all that safe, comfortable in the water at all. it had been bred in me by my mother, who did the best that she could, right? To fear the water, right? Because of her experience. It's interesting, right? We put a lot of these things onto our kids without even really, maybe we do know, but just not really knowing that. And so I started taking swim lessons, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and this is really hard. And I was like, okay, when I go to Maui, I want to be able to surf. I got to be able to paddle really well to get out of the waves and that kind of thing. And if I want to learn how to surf really well when we're there, and I need to learn how to swim well. And I want to get strong, and I want to have something else that feels good on my body. I've done lifted for over 30 years, CrossFit for the last 8 of those. I haven't actually lifted weights really at all the last 2 years. It's interesting. And I box, which is really, really intense on the body. And I'm like, I just feel this pull to the water. I always have. And I don't mean just pool, like ocean, taking tubs. I'm doing immersion tank, sensory deprivation, if I can get that out, floats for the last year. Like, I'm just so attracted to the water, so why would I not want to swim? Of course. And so now, I started some lessons back in November. It's June as I record this. You know, it's vacation at times. Many times they didn't have someone available to do, because I do a private lesson. I've probably done, let's see, so that's over, scratch off. I don't think I did any in December with the holidays and they didn't have times. So let's say almost 7 months. Probably about 20 lessons, I'd say, 20-ish. Almost like to go back and see. So 20, mostly 45 minutes, sometimes 30-minute lessons. I've then gone to the pool myself, probably, 6 or 7 times. That's just more recent, where I'm like, you know what, there's open swims every single morning that go from 6 to 9 a.m. I can get there right at 6. It's me and a lot of the seniors. There's a lot of seniors here in my neighborhood in Oak Bay. They're actually really good swimmers. We were talking about that. The swim teacher I had today, Megan, she was great. But as I came out of the pool, and I'm like, man, it feels so good to be in the water. It feels so good to challenge myself in a different way, where I was like, I am strong girl and I lift weights. That's who I am, right? And not really to veer outside of that for a long, long time, which there's nothing wrong with that. And lifting weights is rad. CrossFit is amazing. But I decided to finally listen to this call inside of me. And it made me realize that. I mean, I came out of the pool, and in my head I'm thinking like, swimming, where have you been all my life? And it's like, I've been right here. You just decided that you didn't want any piece of this, and you had hang-ups about how you look in a bathing suit, and you don't feel like you know what you're doing, and everybody here has been swimming all their lives, and you haven't, so therefore, you're not gonna swim. And it's interesting to me as I reflect on this, is how much that we at times choose not to do things that hold us back from experiences. Whether it's someone like with my mom, we just said, well, I almost drowned, so there you go. That's done. Let me just close the book on swimming, which is something that she talks about. She's like, I love to swim. I loved it, Karen. And I'm like, man, this is sad. And so here's your more tip for today. We're going to keep this podcast short and simple, as I'm getting ready to hop in the shower and get all the chlorine off and out of my hair and start my work day and write. So my more tip for you today is this, is there's something right now in your life that you're holding back, that there's a story that is like a fucking anchor holding you down, where you're not going forward with it. And maybe it is something like it's some kind of exercise or a sport, right? For me too, the longest time I was boxing, and now I'm doing that now, and I love it. Maybe it's an idea you have to create a message or a movement or a business that you want to start. Maybe it's someone that you wanted to reach out to and have a friendship with, a romantic relationship with. Maybe it's something you want to do with your children. I don't know. But you'll know what that is. There's something right now you're like, ooh, I really want to do this thing, but I don't have the money, but I don't have the time, but I'm not ready yet, but I need more information. But when the kids get older, you're missing out. And I don't believe in regret. I think that's an emotion that just does not serve us. But I think it's interesting. And I think we need to understand that if we choose not to move forward with these things and become, again, love my mother. She's doing the best with what she knows how to do. But, my lovely mom also told me for years that she always wanted to take piano lessons. So she had me take them. And I guess, I don't know, maybe she lived vicariously through me. She could play heart and soul, which is kind of it's like, again, if we use that word hack piano, where you can like learn how to play a song, but you don't really learn piano that way. And so she could do that, and she would play that when I had my piano, but she never took lessons herself. And I remember saying this to her like several years ago. She turns, let me see, she's 30 years old, or she'll be at 30, so she's turned 79 this August. I remember saying to her maybe 5 years ago, Mom, why don't you take piano lessons? Oh, no, Karen, I can't do that. And I wonder the joy that she robbed herself of because she never took that step. Because she held on to the excuses and her feelings of not deserving and not worthy and not investing in herself, or I'm too old for, or I can't learn now, whatever it might be, where she didn't expand. It's not as if my mother hasn't done some amazing things with her life. She has. If for anything, she gave me life. But what is that thing for you, sister, that, listen, we all know how this goes. You don't want to be on your deathbed and go, man, I wish I would have done these things. Like, this is your life to live now. This is your gift. How will you use it? And will you live in regret? And so that thing that you really, really feel called to just want to do or think it's cool, like whatever it is, I want you to take one action step in the next 24 hours that'll move you towards that. And you know what it was for me with swimming? It was like, you know what? If I'm going to learn how to do this, because I remember looking into this before. Actually, it's so funny. I remember when we were in Alberta, I did do a private lesson, then one or two. It was with a kid. They didn't know what they were doing. They're like, hey, so what do you want to learn? I'm like, I don't know. Like, aren't you supposed to, like, you're the teacher, you're the coach? Like, I'm the student showing up here. And it was like a gong show. And it didn't work for me then. And then I remember going like, let me check into group classes. And there was like an adult, like a master swim, like how to become better. And then there's like a swim class if you're afraid of the water. And I'm like, I'm not in any of those. Like, where's the one for me? And so when I decided this then, like last fall, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take private lessons. So I know that my oldest son, we just started private lessons with him and it was going great. I'm like, listen, if I want to get good at anything, if I hire someone and they work just with me, I know that's also the fastest path to get there. So I did that and I signed up and I said, I can do this time. They go, great, did it all online. I'm like, there you go. Now I'm committed. Now I've paid. Now I have lessons in place. And then all I need to do is to show up, right? And that's it. So there you go, sister. So a couple things finishing up. Number one, if this episode was useful to you, I want you to share it up with at least one other woman or man that you know needs to hear this message. Okay. In addition, subscribe to the podcast and leave a review so we can help connect with more women that need to hear this message. Make sure to also join the Women Who Want More newsletter and tribe. I'm going to send you some awesome video trainings on how to remember who you are, how to drop your stories and create new ones, and how to start your day in place of power with the more for action guided video training. So that's all when you hop onto the Women Who Want More newsletter, which you can do right now. Head over to drkarenosborn.com/action guide. And by the way, all the resources will be in the show notes, which when you get the newsletter, you will get these 5 days a week delivered to your inbox. But if right now you're listening on your phone, you can click on the I on an iPhone. That'll bring up the links. So you can just kind of click on them, get to the access to the newsletter that way. And the third thing is understand that if you want to move in this direction, you want more within your life, it is almost impossible to do this on your own. You don't need to isolate yourself, sister. I said this on a recent podcast episode. Don't isolate yourself. When you connect with other people that are like you, you get to move there faster. So that's why you need to be in the sisterhood. So I'm going to invite you to join us there for the first 7 days for free. My gift to you. So that's over at drkarenosborn.com/sisterhood. So I'll talk to you in the next episode. A life of more. It's just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.